Okay, I'm going to introduce our next panel here, and we're very fortunate to really be able to focus on, the people that innovate to enhance the fan experience day in and day out. It's going to be unique in the sense that we're going to be looking at it from a couple different aspects with regard to platforms, media platform, a couple of physical structures and platforms in Levi Stadium, and the brand new Cosm facility right here in Hollywood Park. As well as kind of a platform that bridges a number of different kind of industries, and that is the PLYR platform that David Wurth's going to talk about with regard to fantasy play and media viewing. So our moderator for today is Sam Yardley, Executive Vice President, North America for True Circles. Let's hear it for Sam. Shannon Willett, Chief Marketing Officer for Peacock. Breton, Head of Venue for Cosm. Francine Melendez Hughes, Executive Vice President and General Manager for the San Francisco 49ers and Levi Stadium. Give it up. And finally, David Wurth, Founder and CEO of PLYR Technologies, C-Suite Media, and CSQ. And last but not least, we're incredibly lucky to have the Senior Vice President of Chief Technology Officer, for the Intuit Dome. He was with us last year as a guest, so amazing to have him back now that that this beautiful facility is built. George Hanna.
Thanks, Matt. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sam Yardley. I'm not from Los Angeles, in case the accent didn't give that away. But I do live here. I'm very excited to attend the game tonight. As a long-time Clippers fan for 6 years now, been through some highs and some lows with the Clippers, excited to see what the new building's like. So great to be here. I'm going to start with a question to everybody, which is, from a personal perspective, what is the one innovation as a sports fan that you've personally enjoyed the most in recent years? And I'm going to start with Shannon, since you're closest to me. What's your personal innovation highlight?
My personal innovation highlight was something that my team and our product team did this year for the Olympics, which was an AI highlights recap with Al Michaels. And basically what you could do is come onto Peacock and tell us what you liked, what kind of sports, what kind of moments, and you would get a personalized 10-minute reel of everything that happened the day before, narrated for you by Al Michaels, and he lent his voice to it. And it was a great way, I think, to use AI, but for me as a fan, I'm obsessed with the Olympics. I love everything about it, but it's really hard to keep track of everything. And I love Al Michaels. That voice is so iconic. So it was like childhood me got to do something that I always wanted to do and never thought would ever be possible. And that was really fun. It was kind of the experience of a lifetime.
That is awesome. Corey, what's your personal fan highlight in innovation terms?
Considering I'm with Cosm, I feel like this is a layup question, but no. I would say that nothing is ever going to replace being at the venue live. I was fortunate enough last week to travel back to Detroit, which ironically enough where I'm from, and see the Tigers lose to the Guardians, but that was the bad outside of the outcome. But I was there with my brothers, I was there with my nephew, and the memories we created will last a lifetime. And I think what we've heard thus far on these panels is how do we democratize access to those marquee events across the globe and provide people the ability to attend things that they typically might not have access to. And I think it's not so much pointing towards one specific development, but I think in totality, that's what we're all trying to do. I look at what's happening right now with Dodgers, and obviously a home playoff game. I think the last time I checked the score was 6-1, something like that. But
we're coming back.
They're coming back?
6-3.
6-3.
Okay, let's go.
But I would say for us, at Cosm 2, what we're trying to do is tap into that fandom that does exist for those that can't travel to New York City to watch them against the Mets. So like on Wednesday this week, on Friday this week, we'll actually have Dodgers watch party at Cosm, and it'll put you in the best seats of the house as if you were there. And I think that is a unique utility that we're all trying to capture and create because we know the fandom exists.
Very cool. I might try and reschedule my plans the weekend to come and attend the watch party. Francine, from more traditional building, less maybe cut. There we go. You're winning the shoe game, by the way. Can everyone see Francine's shoes? They're absolutely amazing. Look at that. yeah, Francine, from your fan perspective, what's an innovation that stands out?
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about the fan experience, right? And so for us, because we're very fortunate to have our fans in-house, it's all about just creating those memories. And whether it's just the interaction with our staff as they're coming through, we think of everything as a touch point. So whether it's going into the parking lots, seeing the tailgating, dealing with the tailgaters out there or the parking attendants, it's all about the experience. And so for me, it's just really being able to see the families come in and enjoy their time there. I don't think that you could ever replace that. And so I know growing up, watching sports on TV, I never had the real experience of actually going into a facility. For me, it's like a new day every day, going into the facility and just being able to enjoy it with the fans. And, I'm a fan when I'm there, so.
Very good. David.
Innovation this year, this is an exciting question, because we actually we went live this year with PLYR. And PLYR it's an innovative fan experience that gives you access to wherever the broadcast exists. So when you're running around, you're not able to be at the stadium, you're following a player. So 75% of new fans, next-gen fans, follow players over teams, and we help give fans that are following players access to those players when they're in the action. And so this is my favorite innovation now. I use it myself. Not to be so self-aggrandizing here, but it's true. When I am here and Shohei Ohtani's at bat, I get a notification, I click through, I can find where to watch. I go to FS1 all through the PLYR app, and I can see him hopefully do a little better than he's done today, but yesterday he crushed. So anyways, that's my favorite innovation for the year.
George?
Yeah, it's so sitting. Thank you guys for being here. By the way, hopefully many of you can stay for the game. I'd say over the years, lots of people in lots of industries have pushed innovation. I think Francine, maybe you mentioned fan experience. Corey, maybe you said Cosm. The stuff they're doing is phenomenal, and that has really propelled, teams, venues, stadiums, arenas in a lot of different areas. And to some extent, we looked at all of those and we said, what are some really, really unique things that other people have done, and how do we pluck, so-and-so did this really well, we like it, so-and-so did that really well, we liked it. And we had the luxury in a new venue to pull a lot of that together, and maybe in a little bit of a unique way, but whether it's frictionless stores or Game Face ID, or a Halo board or power in the seats, like a lot of these things maybe were done in pockets by other people. Putting it together in a venue like this, I think, is super exciting. And you know what? People are going to see some of the stuff we did and improve upon that for the fan down the line, and that's great also.
I'm impressed by how relaxed you are 3 hours before, because this is the first game tonight, right?
It is the first game today.
Yeah, okay. So it must be going well for you to even be here, so thank you for that. What do you think fans are going to be most excited about when they step into the bowl and see a Clippers game here for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, once you walk into the bowl, the halo is kind of hard to miss. And we've had a couple dozen concerts here before. As you said, this is the first basketball game, so a lot of the content and sort of we're going to stretch its legs a little bit tonight. Not quite as we will for opening, but some things people haven't seen for concerts before. So it's hard to miss that, and it's she's a beaut when she's up.
Cool. We'll look out for it. Francine, I'm going to come to you from more of an established venue perspective. How do you go through the process of thinking about innovation in a building when you're coming up to maybe a renovation? What's that process like?
Yeah, it's an interesting process. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, and we're actually going into major renovations going into 25 in preparation for World Cup and for Super Bowl 20. Super Bowl 60. Oh my God, I forgot the name of it. But our process is we really want to ensure that the fans have a great experience. So we look at everything that touches the fans. So this year we are looking at replacing all of our video boards. So across the entire stadium, we're upgrading our boards. We'll have the largest 4K video board in all of the NFL. We're changing out the sound. So everything that we do is really to improve the fan experience, upgrading our DAS system, our Wi-Fi, because right now, technology is old as soon as you put it in. So for us, looking at all the things that are really going to improve the guest experience is what we look to do. And frictionless is where everybody's going. So that's another thing that we're really pushing right now. But it's a process. I mean, I think really we have to listen to our fans because they're the ones at the end of the day buying the tickets.
Cool. I'm going to come to Shannon next because Shannon has a big 2026 ahead of her. Partly that's in Levi Stadium for the Super Bowl, but there's a raft of events on NBC Peacock. How do you go through the process of kind of building off what you've done through Paris, which was wildly successful by all accounts, and how do you take that next step into innovating the broadcast experience or streaming experience for fans that maybe have different types of needs than traditional linear broadcasting?
Yeah, we learned a lot, I think, from the Paris Olympics this year, which was built off of learnings we had from the Tokyo Olympics prior to that, really thinking about what ways fans want to engage and different types of audiences. There are people that have their pay TV and they're very happy with their NBC and USA experience, that lean back, take me on the journey. And then there were fans that don't have access to pay TV, and this was a way to democratize access to the Olympics, but also fans that might want that deeper experience. They want to lean in, they want to search for their favorite athlete, they want to rewatch moments, they want to see certain highlights in certain ways, they want to watch sports that might not get shown in a linear broadcast, that we don't focus on as much on an NBC side, and we also have really casual fans, people that maybe didn't want to go super deep, but they wanted their Al Michaels AI recap, and they also wanted the Kevin Hart, Kenan Thompson version of the Olympics, the more entertainment side of things. And so we learned a lot about that. And as we look at 2026, we have to think about how to navigate even more content. This Olympics, it was 7,000 hours of content that we were navigating over the course of 17 days and figuring out how to put that in the right places for people. When we talk about 2026, we've got the Winter Olympics, so similar to the Summer Olympics in scale, but then you also have the Super Bowl, and then you have NBA All-Star weekend happening in that moment, and then followed by the World Cup. So it's a lot to kind of figure out how to help fans navigate and understand what's where and what's coming, and the product roadmap for innovation can take 12 to 18 months. So we're doing a lot of things to figure out what can we build on from the current Olympics through that experience, what worked really well, what didn't, and what else would we want to build that maybe we didn't have time for this time. So I'm excited about what that will look like, but it's a lot to help fans navigate. It's a good problem to have, but definitely really focused on how we build now for that year.
Yeah, that's great. And I think a lot of what you're talking about there is kind of thematic to meeting fans where they are, like by their different interest types, different platforms, which I think goes to the heart of what David's up to with his business model around kind of meeting fans across digital platforms that are not necessarily your traditional sports fans who are, Detroit Tigers season ticket holders, but maybe betting on Detroit Tigers games. David, do you want to talk us through the kind of different fans, different audiences that you're targeting with the product that you have, and how all that kind of comes together?
Yeah, absolutely. So fans are coming from all over the place, right? And so it could be somebody's opening a pack of baseball cards or basketball cards. They're getting exposure to a team and a player. They get excited about that player. They want to follow that player. Could be they're playing fantasy for the first time in their office or with their friends or whatever, and all of a sudden they've got 15, 20 players that now they're following, and they're plugging in, and they don't necessarily know how or where. Or, how can I get excited by, obviously I'm playing fantasy, but how can I get excited by the gameplay of these folks? And then you obviously have betting. I mean, betting's astronomical. It's getting bigger. Not only the traditional sports, betting on the games, but also the futures. But prop bets for players, or DFS, daily fantasy. And is this player going to do this or that? And it's getting really integrated. And so the challenge that we see in the marketplace, and this is something that Shannon's experiencing with Peacock, is that things exist in so many different places. The average fan is on 4 to 5 different apps to just get access to what they want. And so from our perspective, and our mission and our goal is to pull that all together, give the fan the experience in one place. Now we click out to all the Yahoo Sports and the Fanatics and wherever it is you want to buy and transact, or wherever you want to bet as well, or watch, but you go to one place, right? Follow the players, connect your fantasy team, connect your bets, get notified when players are in the game, the action. Look, the average attention span of a Gen Zer is like 3 seconds, right? Let's go 3 to 8 seconds. That's not button seat watching the entire game, whatever it might be. So it's, how do you clip that short attention span, get a new fan or a burgeoning or fringe fan into the sport, so in the method and means that they adhere to, right, and want. And that's like real time, in the action, show me what I want in the moment, and then I'll go back to work or school and do my thing. So I don't know if that answered your question, but.
No, it does, but I want to bring George in because I think a lot of what the vision for this building is kind of the opposite of that, right? It's butts in seats, it's watching the game and kind of minimize phone distractions. So how, as a kind of forward-thinking technologist, do you get everyone to put their devices back in their pockets and watch the game?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think it goes back to sort of a fundamental premise we have, which is home court advantage and what that means to the team. And there's data to suggest home court advantage is worth a point or two in an NBA game. And part of that stuff you can't control, right? The team sleeps in their own bed and drives their own cars, whatever. But about half of that is controllable by the atmosphere and the energy and the noise. And so we want our fans to get that point. And so how do you do that in this day and age, right? And so whether it's the Halo board and the exciting content we have planned for that, we have power in the seats. I think we've publicly now talked enough about the lights and the lasers and the buttons and some of the other things. We want to tie that to loyalty and engagement, to reward fan behavior for being in your seat and cheering for the team and doing those things. So are people going to be on their phone? Sure. Are they going to get up and go grab a churro or a crab leg or whatever it is they're going to get? Sure. Churros are great here, by the way. You got to give them a try. But we want them to, A, do that quickly when they're out of their seat. And when they're in their seat, we want to keep them as engaged as possible. And so we've lined some things up to facilitate that.
Very good, very good. I look forward to consuming a lot in the arena tonight. Corey, I want to kind of build on that with your business and Cosm. And you seem to have kind of tread the line very well between adhering to what fans want, which is, you know, communal experiences, lots of frictionless, kind of easy things to do, but obviously in a building, right? Like not just phones, not just digital. So how do you see fan behavior in your building, and how does that kind of play into some of the things that you're thinking about down the line with maybe future venues?
Yeah, just curious, maybe show of hands. How many people knew about Cosm prior to this? Okay, so we're doing all right. How many people have been to Cosm? All right, we got work to do. I would say one of the hardest parts about what we're doing and what we're building is we're bespoke, we're one of one, and it's really challenging to articulate or describe what our experience is. One of the things we constantly mention is you have to see it to believe it. I think the other piece is trying to blend innovation and technology, but not losing the human interest. We're still in a one-to-one connection type of business. That's why we come and collaborate. You mentioned the word connection. That's what we're trying to create, that fandom that exists, that affinity that is already built into the DNA of folks that are fans of an EPL or NFL or NBA team are coming out to see that particular team or that particular moment. And so for us, all we say is that the technology will wow, but the hospitality will win. I think you can get away with the technology one or two times where it's kind of cute, it's neat, it's cool, but ultimately you're coming there to experience something with your friends, your family members, and your coworkers. And so for us, unique piece on the innovation side too as well is that we're vertically integrated from a tech stack. Everything you see within Cosm is Cosm technology. Everything from the LED displays that we create off-site to our specifications to the camera technology that's on-site at a 49ers or a Clippers game. We're capturing that technology in a panoramic view, feeding it back through our own production team. And then everything you will experience as a fan when you're interacting with Cosm, from the website to the app to ordering food and beverage via that app to our ticketing platform, is all in-house. And the only reason I bring that up is that we have that unified user profile that we can tap into. We talk about data as currency, but also we have the ability to adapt and adjust on the fly. So we can take those lessons learned, even though we've only been open for 90 days. We can take those lessons learned, and as opposed to me calling a partner, and I use the word partner loosely sometimes, right? As opposed to calling a partner, I can actually walk down the hall and talk to our CTO and say, hey, have we thought about this path of travel inside the app? The ticketing system's a little clunky here. Can we adjust and adapt that? And I think that gives you the nimbleness to adjust and adapt, which is, to me, the innovation portion, is the ability to adjust and adapt and really listen and lean into your fans.
I'm curious, so you sit on a lot of data already from 90 days in a physical building. Shannon, you sit on reams of data from streaming. How do you go about, when you have, you know, an exclusive playoff game on Peacock, how do you go about analyzing that data to then enhance the experience so people don't just churn after a couple of months and continue to watch things on Peacock?
Yeah, I think with the exclusive wildcard game earlier this year, we knew a lot, having NFL on platform for a long time, about that audience and what else they watch and what else they're interested in. We've also been building more of a sports onboarding experience so that we can learn about people as they first come on, if they're coming in for a game. So we can think about, what's unique with Peacock is we are both sports and entertainment, and that's a really important mix for us. About 90% of people that are coming to watch sports, they spend about 90% of their time actually watching non-sports content on the platform. So what's really important for us is if they come in for something like the wild card game, that's great, and it's a really important entryway for Peacock. People come on, they sign up, they watch that game, and then they suddenly realize everything else we have to offer. And so what we're trying to figure out is what are the pieces of content that are going to be most interesting to this audience? How do we serve it up? Or how do we greenlight a great show that's going to pair with the 2026 Super Bowl so that we can think about what are you going to send people to when they're done watching the game? And with a wild card game, we had a show called Ted based on the previous films, and we launched that intentionally right in that window. And it was a Nielsen Top 10 show following that, and it was something that really engaged a lot of those NFL viewers. And so thinking about how do you create that ecosystem? What else are you showcasing for them to keep them around? Because it's great to get everybody in the door, and we want them to engage deeply in all of the sports, but also that was the end of the NFL season. So how do you bridge them through until we kick off again in September?
And George, how do you think through, obviously you wanted to get as much done in the building year one, game one. Do you have any kind of powder dry as maybe years 2, years 3, once people have experienced it? What's your kind of long-term thinking here?
You're saying in the venue or folks at home?
In the venue.
So we have what's called the day 2 list, which is now multiple years at this point of a backlog. And so part of that is things that we came up with that we couldn't do in time, or the technology wasn't there, or we weren't sure how fans were going to respond. And part of it was we thought we knew exactly what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, and then first day, first concert, like, oh, that didn't work the way we expected it to. What are we going to do differently? And ideas have come just from all over the place. And I think, so the hardest part for us will be prioritizing what is the most important, what will actually resonate with the fans and stay true to what we're doing here in the building. But it's never ending. It's a never ending list of sort of possibilities. And again, I hope when people come see the venue, they take something that we've done and maybe it sparks an idea and do something a little different, and the cycle continues.
Yeah. Now, it's definitely an exciting time here in LA and the wider California community. So thank you all. One last question before we go. Predictions for tonight. Who's going to win? Obviously the Clippers, but by what winning margin? So we'll have a little, maybe we can put this through your app. We'll have a little kind of side game going. So what's the winning margin, George? You're not allowed to bet on these things, I assume.
I'm not.
No. But if you were not a betting man, what's the winning margin tonight?
We're just going to win. It doesn't matter by how many.
Okay. David?
Clippers by 10.
Clippers by 10. Francine?
Clippers by 15.
15, I like this, yeah.
I just love sport. Good game, competitive nature.
Good game, okay. Shannon?
It's like Price is Right rules, where then you just go by by 2 so that you stay closer.
Yeah.
That you can't go over.
Okay, Clippers by 16 is what I'm going for.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Thank you to the panel. Great discussion. Great to see you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.